The courtroom was packed to the brim. Mr. Musa stood at the back, clutching his little girl tightly. Baby Ada clung to her dad's shirt, her face buried low, her small hands trembling in waves. In front of them sat the maternal family, the grandmother, uncles, aunts, all staring at him with cold, suspicious eyes. Their lawyer read the petition aloud, requesting the court to hand Ada over to the mother's side because her father wasn't fit to raise her. Musa swallowed hard, his eyes sunken from sleepless nights. He knew he was poor. He hustled every odd job in Lagos, loading cargo, washing cars, pushing carts at the market. Last month, he lost his construction gig after falling from the scaffolding. Now he was down to scraps of savings, barely enough for the week. But he'd never let his kid go hungry, never missed a day of school for her. The other lawyer laid out the evidence, photos of their run-down rented room, overdue rent slips, Ada's report card showing a missed tuition payment. They said he couldn't give her a decent future, couldn't care for her properly. We just want the girl to have a better life, with her grandma looking after her, a stable family, Ada's grandmother choked out through tears. Ada burst into sobs at that. The little girl tugged at her dad's hand, whispering in tiny Yoruba, "Papa, I don't want to leave you." Musa looked at his daughter, his bony hand gripping her small shoulder tight. He didn't cry, just bowed his head, holding back every emotion. In his mind, one thought echoed, "No matter what, I won't lose her." Musa used to be a builder in Lagos. He left his village for the city at 20, chasing dreams of a better life. On the site, he met Halima, his first wife. They rented a tiny room in Ajagunle slum, had Ada. Life was no picnic. Halima was frail, hospitals far, medical bills piling up like mountains. Once, Musa sold everything they owned just to buy her meds. But in the end, Halima didn't make it. The day she died, Musa was left alone with his 3-year-old daughter, not a dime in his pocket, no family in Lagos except a few fellow villagers sharing the block. Many nights he'd walk halfway across the city for a temporary job, hauling loads one day, waiting tables the next, sometimes pulling a tricycle cart under the blazing noon sun. Ada grew up tagging along with her dad, sleeping in markets, eating cold bread instead of meals. But Musa never let her wander alone. He taught her to read, count, drilled into her to stay honest, never take a single kobo that wasn't hers. Ada knew their situation all too well. She never begged for new toys, never cried over missing books. When her dad came home late, she'd wait by the door, hugging her worn notebook. In her eyes, Musa was always a hero, even if he was the poorest man on the market street. In that cramped little rental block, Musa and Ada weren't totally alone. At the end of the row, Mrs. Ngozi, a porridge seller at the market corner, often slipped Ada leftover bowls at day's end. When Musa got sick and bedridden, she was the only one who stopped by, buying him cold meds, telling Ada to keep her dad warm. Mrs. Ngozi was a widow, her 3 grown kids off working far away. She lived alone and treated the father-daughter duo like kin. Ada went to the local public primary school nearby, often teased by classmates for her shabby uniform. Some days she ate just once, but she still topped the class. Her teacher, Miss Olayemi, the only one who saw Ada's grit, helped quietly, gifting pens and notebooks, passing on old books to take home. Musa had an old buddy, Chinedu, from the construction days. They didn't meet often, but whenever they did, Chinedu would dig out some loose change, press it into Ada's hand. "Buy something to eat with your dad, kid." Ada always bowed in thanks. Musa just nodded, words failing him. In the darkest times, rent overdue, jobs unsteady, Ada burning up with fever, Musa thought about sending her back to the village for her grandma to raise. But every time he saw her huddled over her lessons under the kerosene lamp, he'd swallow his tears and tell himself, "As long as I'm breathing, there's a way." Home is wherever Ada is. Musa's hopes were simple. Just for Ada to keep schooling, grow up healthy, live decently. To him, that was a full life. When Musa lost his job on the site and fell behind on rent for months, Mr. Ayodele, the landlord, started eyeing them suspiciously. One day, cash went missing from a neighbor's room, and whispers turned to that desperate Musa and his kid. Mr. Ayodele banged on their door, ransacked their stuff. Ada cried and explained, but no one believed a poor kid's word. Rumors spread like wildfire. Ada got shunned at school. Mrs. Ngozi advised Musa to pack up and head back to the village to dodge trouble. Musa didn't get mad. He just quietly tidied the room, telling Ada, "Being poor ain't a crime. We just gotta live right." Days later, the real thief got caught red-handed next door. The whole block realized they'd wronged them. Mr. Ayodele felt guilty. From then on, he quietly hooked Musa up with odd jobs, even slipped Ada treats now and then. One day, word came of a big site in Lekki needing workers fast. Musa rushed over, left Ada home alone with strict instructions. Only go out if Miss Olayemi comes by. But that afternoon, disaster struck. Musa got hit by falling rebar, needed 8 stitches in the hospital, lost the job, plus mounting bills he couldn't pay. That's when the maternal family from the village heard. They came to the city, straight to the slum to see them. Ada's grandma wept and scolded. "Why didn't you send her to me from the start? How's she supposed to survive here?" The uncles and aunts offered. Either hand Ada over or they'd sue, claim he wasn't fit. Musa couldn't bear losing her, but he had nothing left. In the days after, they scraped by on neighbors' handouts, eating whatever was given. Ada started selling lottery tickets. One day, some shady guys tried dragging her off. Thank God Mrs. Ngozi spotted it and rushed in to save her. Rumors flew about Musa neglecting his kid, letting her roam the streets. The family snapped pics of the shabby room, collected debt slips, grilled teachers about Ada. A lawsuit hit the local council in court, stripped Musa's custody for incapability to care, endangering the child. Musa hit rock bottom. He sat watching his daughter doze on the old mat, still clutching her homework book. In his heart, one thing remained. If I lose her, my life's over. There was that toughest stretch. After the accident, Musa stuck in the hospital for days, no one to watch Ada. The family came up, begged to take her back till Dad's better. Ada had to leave the city, away from her dad, to live with Grandma in the village. First days, she couldn't sleep, sitting by the window at night, hoping for a letter or call from Musa. In the village, Ada tried fitting in, excelled at school, but her heart ached empty. From his bed, Musa gritted through pain to write, "Be strong, kid. Home's wherever you hold on to hope." After 3 months, with help from Mrs. Ngozi and Mr. Ayodele, Musa healed, got back to work, scraped every penny for a bus ticket to fetch her. Reunion day, Ada burst into tears, running into his arms amid the crowded station. They hugged like they'd never let go. Musa didn't give up. Exhausted as he was, he refused to sign over his kid. Mrs. Ngozi and Chinedu rallied him, helped file a counter-appeal to the council, then found a pro bono lawyer at the Social Welfare Center. Miss Olayemi, hearing it all, posted their story on social media. A poor dad who never let his girl miss school. Little Ada hawking tickets to help. Top of her class. A young journalist stumbled on it, tracked them to the slum for an interview. Musa and Ada's tale, with pics of them hugging in the tiny room, exploded across Nigerian social media. Viewers were moved. Folks volunteered donations to cover rent, bills. Even lawyers offered free defense for court. Media blasted it wide, slamming stripping custody just 'cause of poverty, praising the single dad's grit. On the rescheduled court day, dozens showed up for Musa. Mrs. Ngozi, Miss Olayemi, even Chinedu testified. Charities and schools offered Ada scholarships. Public pressure made the family back down, no more threats. The final hearing drew neighbors, friends, reporters, helpers. The other side still pushed Musa as unfit, but evidence crumbled. Ada's scholarship, Musa's new steady gig at a garage, community donations, school endorsements. Ada's grandma stood before the judge, tears streaming. For the first time, she looked at Musa and admitted, "I was wrong thinking money's the only way to a future." "I'm sorry, son." The judge ruled custody to Musa. Court over, Ada raced to hug her dad tight, tears unstoppable. Musa cried too. For the first time in years of hardship, he wept in front of everyone. Their story swept Lagos. Folks hailed Musa as a symbol of resilience, a dad who wouldn't bow to fate for his kid. A charity offered them a nicer small apartment. Ada got full scholarships through high school. The family declined return donations, even chipped in for Ada's English lessons, stayed in touch for support if needed. One heavy rainy season, floods swamped the slum. One night, a short circuit sparked a fire. Smoke choked the whole row. Musa spotted it first, banging doors, yelling for everyone to get out. Ada helped Mrs. Ngozi drag an old lady to safety. Though they lost everything, Musa and his girl were last out, double-checking no one was trapped. Post-fire, families homeless, stuff gone. Musa rallied. Let's rebuild. Strength for labor, cash for materials, food for sharing. Their story of being wrongly accused, scorned, yet saving the block, spread street-wide. Charities poured in, sparking a wave, the little community pulling through together, no one left behind. Ada had a best friend once, Bukola, at the Lagos public school. Tough days. Ada shared lunch, lent pens, studied together after class. But once, Bukola got caught cheating on a test. To dodge punishment, she blamed Ada for letting her copy, landing Ada a week's suspension. Ada was crushed, heartbroken, but stayed silent, took the hit. Later, Bukola switched schools. They never met again. Years on, Ada grown into a doctor. Bukola showed up at her free clinic with her sick little brother. Awkward, Bukola spilled the old betrayal, begged forgiveness. Ada just smiled softly. That's ancient history. What matters is we both know how to live right now. Ada treated the boy for free, prescribed meds, even gifted her old school shoes. Word spread. Folks admired Ada's grace. No grudges, just kindness and forgiveness. After court, Musa and Ada moved to a cleaner, brighter, safer room in a new spot. Musa fixed cars at a nearby garage, steady pay. Ada schooled daily, no more bullying for being poor. Now she was the daughter of the toughest dad on the block. Mrs. Ngozi still dropped by, sometimes cooked dinner, watched Ada do homework. Chinedu landed better work. The neighborhood buzzed happier, tighter, thanks to Musa's saga. Ada shone brighter, always class top. Miss Olayemi beamed, got her into student clubs, sharing her grit story with other kids. Ada never forgot the hard months, cherishing every meal, book, her dad's smile. Musa shed the fear of losing her. Passing the old slum sometimes, he'd pause, gaze, thank those brutal days for teaching him father-daughter love, valuing life's tiniest bits. Years later, Ada, a young doctor in Lagos, she returned to the old slum, opened a free clinic for poor kids. She'd tell her dad's story in chats with the little ones. If my father didn't quit, I got no right to give up. Whenever possible, Ada brought Musa to her old school, talking to students. Father-daughter became inspiration for the hood. With her first earnings, Ada fixed up the old room where she grew, hung a photo of them together below a simple line. Where there's love, there's home. Musa and Ada's tale hit big papers, motivating single parents across Nigeria. Folks remembered them not just for beating odds, but for family bonds and spreading goodness. For Ada, true success wasn't degrees or cash. It was keeping her promise to Dad. Live decently, help others, never lose hope. If this journey of Musa and Ada hits you somehow, drop a comment below. And if you want to join more inspiring stories, hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. God bless you and your family.